This wasn't the first time I'd found things that didn't belong, things a strange man had left behind. Even my own clothes had been tampered with. Suspicious, I asked my brother-in-law-to-be, Ethan, if he knew anything. He swore the items weren't his and claimed he hadn't touched my clothes at all, but every time I brought it up with my wife, Victoria, and asked her if another man had been over, she'd completely explode. It's just a few small things. What does that prove? You're going to accuse me of cheating over this? You're the one who went through your clothes. You're probably just losing your mind and can't remember anything. She always denied everything so passionately. And since I never had solid proof, I'd drop it until that one day when everything changed. I found a used condom still containing fluid stuffed in the pocket of a jacket hanging in my closet. My blood boiled. I snatched the jacket and threw it in her face. The evidence was right there, undeniable. "Let's see you talk your way out of this one," I said, burning with rage. Victoria Blackwood looked down at the item in shock. Her brows furrowed. "Honey, what is this? How did this get here? And in your jacket of all places?" Her expression was so confused, so helpless, it almost didn't seem like she was pretending. But I was beyond furious. "You've been letting other men wear my clothes, haven't you?" I snapped. "And all those other things I found before? Those were just things they forgot to take with them after you brought them home to fool around, right?" "That's not true," Victoria said, alarmed. "I swear I have never brought another man home." Then her sister, Isabel, chimed in from the side. "The filthy thing was in your jacket. What right do you have to frame my sister?" I froze for a moment. This wasn't the first time these two had teamed up like this. Victoria pointed at me, eyes blazing. "This isn't the first or second time you've wrongly accused me. All you do is look for trouble," she shouted. "You're making me a laughingstock in front of the neighbors." It was true. Victoria and I had been madly in love during our 4 years in college. I'd been completely love-struck. I gave up my status as the heir to the Walker fortune. I even cut off all contact with my family just to marry her right after graduation. Her parents had passed away long ago, and she always used to say, "A big sister is like a mother." That's why she brought her unmarried younger sister, Isabel, to live with us. I had even used my own connections to find jobs for both of them, but the longer we all lived under the same roof, the more distant Victoria became. I couldn't even remember the last time she'd let me touch her. Still, I foolishly held on to the hope that the gentle woman I had fallen in love with would one day come back. Then Isabel started going too far with her accusations. "For all we know, you're the one messing around and trying to pin the blame on her." "What did you say?" I trembled with anger. Victoria heard her sister's slander, but didn't say a word in my defense. "Fine," I said. "You won't admit it, right? Tomorrow, I'm taking this to a lab for a DNA test. We'll see whose it is." A flicker of panic crossed Victoria's face, but she quickly masked it. "Test it then. It has nothing to do with me, so it'll prove my innocence." She said it with such calm indifference that I began to doubt myself. Could it really have nothing to do with her? "Then it's settled," I said, grabbing the jacket. "I'm going to the lab tomorrow." Victoria reached out like she wanted to snatch the jacket back, but she stopped halfway. It was subtle, but I saw it clearly. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Isabel's fiancé, Ethan Thompson. They'd been dating for nearly a year and were preparing for their engagement. He was here that night to discuss the party. I swallowed my rage and tried to stay calm. I'd wait for the DNA results, but I couldn't focus through dinner. My eyes kept drifting toward Victoria, and when I looked, what I saw froze me. The way she was looking at Ethan. There was a soft, almost flirtatious gleam in her eyes. It was unsettling. She even took the initiative to put food on his plate, something she never did for me. Was I overthinking it? That look, that kind of care. It felt wrong, too familiar, too intimate. And then, mid-meal, Victoria casually put down her chopsticks and dropped a bomb. "Now that Izzy's getting married, I don't have much to give her as her big sister. So, I'll just sign this apartment over to you as your dowry." I nearly dropped my chopsticks. "What? You're giving away my apartment as a dowry? Are you insane, or am I?" Isabel's eyes sparkled. She clapped like a child. "Really? Sis, you're the best." "No," I said firmly. "The apartment is mine." "I don't agree." Isabel sneered. "You can't have children anyway, so what's the use of holding on to it? My sister promised me a long time ago that she'd give me this apartment when I got married. What's yours is my sister's, and what's my sister's is mine." We'll do what we want with it." Her words cut deep like daggers. It was true that Victoria had never gotten pregnant, and after a while, we'd stopped being intimate altogether. I stood up, shaking with anger. "I don't care what you do with your own things, but I bought this apartment before we were married. You have no right to give it away." Victoria's face flushed. "If we split our assets, I'd be entitled to one of our 2 houses. So I get to decide what happens to this one. Besides, you still have that house in the suburbs. We can just move back there. It's not like we'll be homeless." Ethan smiled. "Izzy and I were just worrying about a place to live." "Well, it would be rude to refuse." "Thank you, Vicky. Why don't we sign a transfer agreement right now? A verbal promise isn't enough." Without even blinking, Victoria said, "No problem. Boy, you just write it up." I stared at her in disbelief, heart going cold. "Victoria, do you even hear yourself?" She grabbed my hand sweetly. "By the way, you'll handle the title transfer for Izzy after the engagement party. You have to go, whether you want to or not. We need to get her dowry ready." Isabel chimed in too. "My sister already agreed to the transfer. If you dare disobey her, I'll have her divorce you." Staring at these lunatics, I slammed my chopsticks down and stormed back to my room. "Get out as soon as you're done eating." "You want the house?" "Not a chance in hell." From behind me, I could still hear Ethan's voice. "It's clearly Vicky's apartment. Why does her husband have such a bad temper? But to catch a thief, you need proof." The next day, I took the condom to be tested. I also had some other medical tests done for myself. When I got home, I heard strange sounds coming from the bedroom. Quietly, I cracked the door open. Victoria was pulling out an unopened box of condoms from a hidden compartment in the closet. She was dressed to the nines, applying lipstick in the mirror. No wonder my clothes were always disturbed. Who was she meeting? I pulled out my phone and began recording. She posed confidently in front of the mirror, looking pleased. Then I noticed she'd left her phone on the coffee table unlocked. The screen still lit. It was open to a secondary chat app I'd never seen before. The screen displayed a private chat between her and Ethan Thompson. "Boy, you're so handsome. Can I call you my dear little brother? Vicky, you're so sweet. I'm so lucky to have a big sister like you." As I scrolled, the messages grew more and more intimate. Victoria had even sent him photos her legs in stockings. "Dear little brother, want to try something different today? Vicky, your body is amazing. I really want to touch the real you." My vision went black. I nearly collapsed. So Victoria really was cheating. And with Ethan, of all people. Then I saw she had chat logs with countless other men. Without exception, every conversation involved her wearing revealing clothes, striking seductive poses, and flirting shamelessly. Ding, a photo memory notification popped up on her phone. I almost threw up. Her entire photo album was filled with intimate photos and videos with different men. I never imagined she could be this disgusting. I heard Victoria getting ready to come out of the bedroom, so I quickly put the phone back and hid. Caked in makeup, Victoria picked up her phone and walked out. Once she was gone, I quietly followed her, keeping a safe distance. As I tailed her, I'd already dialed my father's number. I never thought I'd make this call. But after all these years, when the phone rang, my father, Harrison Walker, answered instantly. He had always been waiting for my call. His voice was filled with joy. "Sincere, hearing your voice, son. Tell me, what's wrong?" I took a deep breath. "Dad." He immediately grew anxious. "Son, what happened? Talk to me." I was silent for a long moment. Then I said, "Dad, you were right. Victoria isn't worth it." "What?" My father's voice turned stern, laced with concern. "What happened exactly? Tell me everything." Slowly, so I told him. Everything. Victoria's affair. How she and her sister were trying to steal my apartment. All of it. Those animals. My father seethed. "They messed with my son? I'll make every single one of them pay." "Don't worry, sincerely, I'll be at their engagement party." After the call, I took a deep breath, trying to suppress the wave of nausea rolling through me. Still, I felt a thrill of vengeful satisfaction. At their engagement party, I was going to give them a very special gift. I would humiliate their shameless family so thoroughly, they would never be able to show their faces in public again. Isabel's engagement party took place as scheduled. The venue was packed with friends and relatives. I glanced over the list of dowry gifts. Right there, in bold letters, it said, "Gift from her sister, Victoria Blackwood 1 downtown apartment." They really had the nerve to write it down. After our argument, Victoria had hidden my property deed. I'll hold on to the deed for safekeeping. You won't find it, she had said smugly. I'll take it out when it's time for the transfer, so don't try any funny business. Pack your things over the next few days. We'll be moving to the suburbs together. And don't you dare make a scene at the engagement party. I had already lost all hope for her, but I didn't argue. I knew I could always get the deed reissued if necessary. Halfway through the party, the MC picked up the microphone. And now, let's take a look back at the new couple's sweet journey of love. The large screen lit up, playing a slideshow of Isabel and Ethan's relationship. The guests oohed and ahed, showering them with praise. What a perfect match! The handsome groom and the beautiful bride, such a match made in heaven. And then, the screen flickered. The image changed. Suddenly, the room filled with the sound of heavy breathing loud enough to make anyone blush. The scene showed a heavily made-up woman and Ethan locked in a passionate kiss. Ethan's hands were roaming all over her body. "You smell so good. You make my blood boil." Then, his zipper was pulled down, and the woman expertly lowered her head. Gasps, screams, chaos. Oh my God! What is going on? The groom is disgusting. Help me! Isabel exploded in rage. She lunged at Ethan, hitting him furiously. "How dare you cheat on me?" she shrieked. "Bring me that woman. I'll kill her." Ethan looked completely shaken. Why? How did this get filmed? The screen flickered again. Now, it showed Victoria applying heavy makeup and walking out of our house. Ethan popped up from around a corner, grinning. "Vicky, you look so beautiful today." Victoria lowered her head shyly and gently patted his chest. "E-boy, you're so handsome." "You really are." Suddenly, all the color drained from Victoria's face. She jumped out of her seat, panicked. "Turn it off. Turn it off now." What is this?" Isabel's face turned pale too. Ethan finally realized what was happening. He jumped up and down, flailing. "Pull the plug. Someone pull the plug." Isabel dropped her hands from Ethan. She stared at the screen, then at Victoria, and finally at me. Her voice trembled. "Sis, what is going on?" Everyone in the room had already noticed Victoria's makeup in the video was identical to the woman in the first clip. "Hey, is that Victoria?" "Yeah, and that's their house." "I'm going to be sick. I had no idea she had this kind of fetish." The video continued playing. Victoria and Ethan walked hand in hand into a clothing store and headed straight for a changing room. The door shut behind them. The camera zoomed in on the gap beneath the door. Rustling noises filled the speakers. Then came Victoria's husky, seductive voice. "You smell so manly. Something's getting hard. Vicky, you have to help me. You've got me all worked up. Wow, you're so big. Can I touch it?" The crowd was in complete shock. The woman in the previous video was Victoria. Some guests actually began vomiting. The hall descended into utter chaos. I calmly picked up a spare microphone and stood up. "This is my engagement gift to you," I said. "Do you like it?" Isabel stood frozen, looking from Victoria to Ethan and then to me, her eyes wide, her lips trembling. Are you insane? How could you slander my sister like this?" I sneered. "You're the main culprit here. None of you are getting away with this." Isabel burst into tears, shaking her head. "My sister was just being nice to her brother-in-law-to-be. You're deliberately trying to tear our family apart. What do you want?" Victoria's face was beet red. She pointed at me, trembling with rage. "You cheating scumbag. Just a few days ago, I found a used condom in your clothes to cover up your own affair. You fabricated this video to frame me. You're deranged." She got more and more agitated, her voice venomous. "You're a bad luck charm. Our family hasn't had peace since you arrived, and now you're trying to destroy us." I pulled out the DNA report from the lab. "The condom you're talking about? It had your DNA on the outside, and God knows what other man's on the inside. What else do you have to say?" Truthfully, the moment I saw Victoria's chat logs and photo album, the DNA report didn't even matter anymore. I had done another test later and found out the truth, but since she wanted to bring up the condom, I was more than happy to oblige. The guests erupted. Phones came out. People began live streaming the whole scene. Whoa, this is next level drama. A live expose. People really are this wild these days. Quick, film this. This kind of tea will go viral. Seeing the reaction, Ethan shook with rage. He grabbed an ashtray and charged at me, fury blazing in his eyes. "Why did you do this to me? Why did you ruin my reputation?" He raised the ashtray high, ready to strike me. Another wave of gasps swept through the crowd. "Look out! He's going to attack him!" But just in time, a deep, commanding voice echoed through the hall. "Stop! I'd like to see anyone lay a hand on my only son." It was my father, Harrison Walker. As he spoke, one of his bodyguards from Walker Group rushed in and kicked the ashtray out of Ethan's hand. Before Ethan could even react, more bodyguards had already pinned him to the ground. Ethan lay there, groaning, humiliated. Harrison strode over to me, calm, powerful. "Are you hurt anywhere?" he asked gently. He was dressed in a sharp suit, his eyes filled with concern, but the power he radiated made the entire room fall silent. Even after all these years, I could still feel how deeply he cared. I shook my head, voice filled with gratitude. "Dad, I'm fine." The guests looked on, stunned. "Who is that man? He's got such a powerful presence. Wait, I've seen him in a business magazine. That's Harrison Walker." But Victoria, apparently, still didn't recognize him. She was still shouting, "Everyone, look! This scumbag even called in the mafia to assault people." Someone called the police. The murmurs swelled among the crowd. "Wait, isn't that Harrison Walker? The head of the Walker Group?" "What? You mean the multi-billionaire Harrison Walker?" I took a deep breath and picked up the remote again. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said calmly, "the show is just getting started." The screen lit up again. This time, it displayed screenshots of Victoria's private chats with various men. The lurid content made people's eyes go wide. "Baby, want to come over for dinner tonight? I'm a great cook. My dear sister, that black stocking you wore last time was so sexy. I can't get enough. I can't hold my liquor. I get drunk after just one glass. You better not take advantage of me, big brother." Another wave of gasps echoed through the hall. "Damn, look at that list. How many guys are there? This damn Victoria is disgusting. The number of people. I can't even look." Some people covered their eyes only to peek through their fingers. Others furiously filmed the screen with their phones, desperate not to miss a single detail. Isabel's face turned ghostly pale. She shook her head in panic. "Photoshop! This is all Photoshop!" she screamed. Then, pointing at me with trembling hands, she yelled, "You shameless scoundrel! To cover up your own affair, you would do something this despicable." Her bloodshot eyes welled with tears. Ethan, ever since the crowd's accusations began, looked like a ghost. Slumped in the corner, held firmly by the bodyguards, he mumbled to himself, "Impossible. This is impossible. I specifically checked there. Was no one around. How could we have been filmed?" Victoria's face went completely white. She finally recognized Harrison Walker, the man she'd once dismissed as unimportant, and collapsed to the floor, her eyes hollow and vacant. Meanwhile, the chat logs continued scrolling across the screen. I turned to Victoria and said, with cold finality, "Now that you've been caught red-handed, I want a divorce." The entire hall exploded. That disgusting Victoria is such a two-faced hypocrite. I can't believe she's a total town bike. Mr. Walker is incredible, enduring it all until the engagement party just to expose her in public. I bet the younger sister Isabel knew all along. Maybe she intentionally pushed her fiancé onto her sister. Haha. Harrison's face darkened with fury. "Rest assured," he said, his voice cold as ice. "I, Harrison Walker, always repay my debts, and I will make each of you pay back double." "No, it's not like that," Victoria stammered. "Sincere, you've misunderstood. None of this is real." She reached out, trying to grab my arm, but one of the Walker bodyguards stepped in, blocking her. I sneered. "Victoria, do you think I'm a child? I investigated everything starting from your network. It's clear you'll spread your legs for anyone who comes along." A cold sweat broke out on Victoria's forehead. You know everything." Every live streaming camera in the room zoomed in on her. The crowd gasped again. "Wow, if that's not a sex addiction, I don't know what is. She looks so decent on the outside. I can't believe how filthy she is underneath." Victoria stared at me, her expression empty. How did you do all this?" Harrison smirked. "Your pathetic little background? It took my people half a day to dig up every dirty secret you buried." Isabel's face turned red with rage. "Sis, don't let them mess with your head. This scumbag was the one who cheated first. If you divorce him, you can take everything. You can kick him out of the house. Even now, all she could think about was my apartment. Absurd. Harrison nodded. His assistant handed a document to Victoria. We've already prepared a divorce agreement, he said coolly. But since you're the one at fault, it states clearly, you leave with nothing. Victoria's hands trembled as she took the document. The paper rustled loudly from her shaking. What? Leave with nothing? Her face went white. Sweat beaded on her forehead. Harrison adjusted his cuffs like he was simply preparing for dinner. All the houses are Sincere's premarital assets. Your family can forget about using them as dowry. And the company you and Isabel work at, it's one of my subsidiaries. I've already had your employment terminated. Victoria's mind went completely blank. She staggered backward, stunned. In a single moment, she had lost everything: her job, her home, her marriage, and her reputation. Impossible, she whispered. Sincere still loves me. You can't do this to me. In her desperation, she collapsed to her knees with a loud thud. Husband, please, please forgive me. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I'll change. I'll cut off all contact with them, I swear. Just give me one more chance. I laughed coldly. You didn't know you were wrong when you were cheating. You didn't know you were wrong when your family tried to steal my apartment. But now that you're finally facing consequences, you see the error of your ways? A town bike like you, I wouldn't take you back even if you came free. Isabel panicked, furious. Her face flushed with anger. Sis, get up. Don't kneel to this vicious scumbag. What's so great about him? He's just a ruthless lowlife. The worst that can happen is we go back to our mud brick house. The crowd began whispering again. Phones were raised. The sight of Victoria kneeling on the floor had everyone recording. I can't believe it. A pair of gold-digging sisters. They lived in his house, ate his food, and then had the nerve to try and use his property as dowry. If that were my relative, I'd be ashamed. What disgusting animals. I pulled out a hospital report from my bag and tossed it into the air. The pages floated down, scattering around the hall. The room fell dead silent. Victoria, I said calmly, you have an ovulation. So who's the one who can't have kids? Gasps rippled again. Shock. Disbelief. I also found out how you'd faked a report claiming I was the one who was infertile. Victoria was frozen. She picked up the report from the floor, reading every word with trembling hands. The diagnosis was there, plain as day. Isabel, seeing the look in her sister's eyes, knew it was true. Just then, the sound of sirens wailed from outside. The crowd turned. Police officers stormed into the hall. It turned out many viewers watching the live stream had taken action. Netizens had even discovered that Victoria had uploaded some of the secret recordings online. The clear footage had thrown many of her partners into total chaos. One officer walked directly up to her. Miss Victoria Blackwood, you've been reported for violating public decency laws and are suspected of multiple illegal acts. Victoria's face was pale. I didn't. This is all slander. The officer calmly took out a pair of handcuffs and locked them around her wrists. Please cooperate with our investigation. The crowd exploded again. The live streamers couldn't believe it. Damn, this is better than any TV drama. You couldn't even write a script like this. A sister who cheats with hundreds. A sister-in-law who tries to steal everything. This is going to break the internet. As Victoria was led away by police, she cried out, "E-boy, help me." But Ethan had his own troubles. How could he possibly help her? Harrison, clearly annoyed by the media frenzy, leaned toward me and said quietly, "Let's go." And just like that, we walked toward the exit, leaving everyone behind. Isabel tried to follow, but the bodyguards blocked her. Brother-in-law, I was wrong. Please save my sister. I know you can. Without turning back, I said, from this day on, I have nothing to do with the Blackwood family. Husband, tell them I'm innocent. Victoria's voice echoed faintly as she disappeared. Walking out of the hotel, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: relief. I could finally breathe again. Harrison smiled at me. Welcome home. I won't let anyone frame you ever again. We got into the black Maybach and drove into the night. That evening, the top trending topics across social media were: woman exposed for cheating with hundreds, cheating wife humiliated at engagement party, brain-dead sister-in-law tries to steal property. Netizens flooded the platforms, frantically sharing the videos and screenshots. The comments sections were a firestorm of condemnation. This Victoria is a total pervert. A real piece of work. So disgusting, I heard it was hundreds of men. She was no good from the start. What a mess. And to film all those people. So satisfying. That sister-in-law got what she deserved. And her fiancé cheating with her own sister. Hilarious. Both sisters' social media accounts were overrun by netizens, flooded with insults and ridicule. Even the accounts of the men Victoria had secretly filmed weren't spared. The next morning, I woke up to 4 or 5 unread messages on my phone, all from Victoria. I glanced at them and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Husband, I used the Walker family name to get a chance to use my phone. I have no other options. Everything that happened yesterday was a huge misunderstanding. I was drunk that one time, and after that, I was possessed. You have to believe me. I never ever wanted to betray our marriage. I've already cut ties with all of them. I promise I will never contact them again for the rest of my life for the sake of our marriage. Please help me. I'm locked up and I don't know what to do. I know your family has ways to fix this. Sincere. I know you can see this. Please come. I'm begging you. You can even yell at me. I don't care. Reading those pathetic pleas only made me feel more disgusted. I didn't bother replying. I simply blocked her number. Around noon, my phone buzzed again with a news alert. A special discussion forum about the Victoria Blackwood scandal was trending, its popularity soaring, and then netizens uncovered another bombshell, one even worse than before. Not only was Victoria's behavior perverse, but she also had a sexually transmitted disease. Even more horrifying, she had knowingly transmitted it to a large number of her sexual partners. The comments section exploded. Damn this beastly woman. She's sick and still out there harming people. A true menace to society. Disgusting. So disgusting, the death penalty would be too good for her. Those guys she was with are already socially dead. And now they find out she gave them a disease? What a tragedy. Unbelievable. All those men. What was she thinking? Reading those reports sent a chill down my spine. Thankfully, Victoria had even managed to fool herself, truly believing I was infertile, and so she'd lost all interest in me. Otherwise, a few days later, the court's verdict for my divorce from Victoria came down. The ruling was clear. Victoria's actions had caused significant harm. She would leave with nothing. On top of that, she was ordered to pay me damages for emotional distress. All the assets under our names were awarded to me. The moment I received the verdict, I went with Walker Group bodyguards and a team of legal experts to enforce the judgment. When we arrived at the apartment that was now rightfully mine, we found Isabel still shamelessly living there. Ethan was there too, apparently negotiating something with her. When the door opened, Isabel's eyes lit up with hope at the sight of me. She rushed over and tried to grab my hand. Brother-in-law, you finally came to help. My sister told me to wait for you here, that you wouldn't abandon her. She was right. I took a cold step back. A legal officer stepped forward and read out the enforcement order. In accordance with the court's verdict, you are ordered to vacate these premises immediately. Isabel froze, staring at me blankly. Her face turned pale, then deathly white. Suddenly, she screamed hysterically and pointed at me. Impossible. This is my home. It's all your fault. You ruined our engagement party. You got my sister locked up. And now you're trying to kick me out? What a joke. I looked at her contorted face. You brought this on yourselves. Who else is there to blame? Ethan snapped, turning on Isabel. Stop your pointless whining. Give me back the betrothal gifts. This wedding is off. Then he added bitterly, if you hadn't been pining after my sister, we wouldn't be in this mess. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been seduced by your sister, and my life wouldn't be so completely ruined. Just talking about it makes me want to hit you. His voice shook. His face turned red with rage. Ha, I sneered. Just like family, blaming each other for their own mistakes. Isabel clenched her fists and shouted back at him. You were the one begging me to set the engagement party date. And you were the one who wanted my sister to give us the apartment. Now that things have gone wrong, you blame me? Ethan Thompson, are you even a man? Their argument escalated. Their voices grew louder, their words sharper. Finally, Ethan, humiliated and furious, raised his hand and slapped Isabel across the face. Twice. Shut up. Isabel stood there, stunned into silence. Just then, the enforcement officers began to forcibly clear out the apartment. One by one, they carried out Victoria's and Isabel's belongings. That's when Isabel completely snapped. She bolted into the kitchen and came back holding a sharp fruit knife. She started swinging it wildly. Don't come any closer. All of you get out. This is my house. I have the deed." Seeing this, Ethan yelled, "Isabel, are you crazy? Put the knife down. If you want to die, that's your business. It has nothing to do with me. Just give me back my money and I'll leave." But Isabel wasn't listening. Her eyes were bloodshot as she pointed the knife at me and screamed, "It's all your fault, you worthless man. You ruined my life. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." Then she lunged at me with the knife. My bodyguards immediately formed a wall in front of me. Ethan, who was closest to her, shouted, "I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me? Stop waving that stupid knife around." He reached out and grabbed her. They struggled. It was chaos. "Wake up, you. Don't make me hit you." Ethan growled, "I have to kill him." Isabel shrieked, "Kill that bastard. He took everything from me. I told you to give me back my money. My money. Do you hear me?" Ethan was desperate. He yelled back, his voice cracking with anger. Then, in the struggle, it happened. With a sickening squelch, the sharp fruit knife plunged into Ethan's chest. Blood instantly soaked his white shirt. Isabel stared in horror, the knife slipping from her hand and clattering onto the floor. "Ethan, why did you keep getting in my way?" "I was trying to stab that bastard." Her voice trembled. Ethan looked down at the blood pouring from his chest. His eyes were wide with disbelief. He staggered, trying to say something, but only garbled sounds came out. Blood bubbled at his lips. By the time the ambulance and police arrived, it was too late. Ethan had lost too much blood. A paramedic gave him a quick exam, then shook his head. It hit a vital organ. There are no signs of life. Isabel was immediately taken into police custody. A few months later, Harrison told me the final verdicts. Isabel was sentenced to 20 years for intentional homicide. Victoria, charged with maliciously spreading a disease and violating public decency, received a heavy sentence of 30 years. When I heard the news, I felt nothing. Sometimes I think I was lucky I found that used condom. That single discovery allowed me to start a new life. A few more months passed, and Harrison officially announced me as the heir to the Walker Group. I stood at the top floor of the group's skyscraper, looking out over the entire city, and for the first time in a long while, a long-lost smile spread across my face.